Today, we become legends.
So my video about the top 10 highest skill gods in Smite went down pretty well, and so now it's time to piss even more people off by saying their favourite god is low skill. That's right, it's time for the top 10 lowest skill Smite gods. Even more important than the first video, this list isn't meant to be an attack on people who play these gods. Easy gods are fine to have in the game as a healthy mix of easy, medium and hard ones. This is simply my own opinion on why these gods take the least skill to master in the game, but let's just jump in with number 10. So first up on the list we have the Queen of Safety, Jing Wei, and that's the main reason she's on this list, her safety. Jing has solid mobility, an ultimate that can be used at an escape to go over walls, can dash out of knockups, and can play badly and take poke damage in lane but just fly right back at full HP from fountain and not even miss a minion wave. I feel like this one might be a bit controversial since Jing isn't super easy in regards to her actual fights, but her safety is the reason she's on here, and hey, she's only number 10 at least. Moving on, another potentially controversial pick takes the number 9 spot, and that's Hades. Similar to Jing Wei, Hades' basic game plan and teamfighting isn't the easiest. He has to work around his lack of range and find a way to get into the fight to get his damage off. The reason Hades is on this list is because of his absurd laning phase domination. It's impossible to lose lane as Hades, especially in solo. Just heal up and one-shot the enemy wave while also dealing 400 damage to the enemy god. It's just so brain dead to play Hades in the early to mid game that I thought he needed a spot on this list, even if his late game can be a little bit more difficult to pilot. He's only at number 9 after all. The next one is a similar story to our old friend Hades actually. Izanami is just the most brain-dead laning phase hunter of all time, period. Her boomerang basic attacks win the wave clear for her, at which point she has like so much pressure to take camps or look for the fight while the enemy deals with your own wave. Again, she's not higher up mostly because it's only really her early game and laning phase that's super brain dead, whereas her late game does take some skill. Not much, don't get me wrong, but some. Moving into number 7 though, is somewhat of the opposite of Izanami actually. Hebo's early game isn't amazing and you have to navigate it a little carefully to not feed early on, but if you can manage to not be 0-13 by 10 minutes in, you will get online as Hebo and start one-shotting people, at which point this god takes very little skill. Just blink in, hit 3 and ult, their mage is dead. Congratulations, you can play Hebo. Just don't go reverse godlike in the first 10 minutes and you'll be fine with this guy.
Okay, starting with his ultimate. Whoa, 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 Hebu has 3 ultimates, you fucking brown sex noob. Okay, so starting with Hebo's first ultimate, Water Cannon. This ability is the reason I call him Water Hands McGee. He literally just throws some water at you and you die. Welcome to Smite. You must be using fucking Detroit tap water or something for it to hurt this much.
Taking the number 6 spot is Odin. After the rework, Odin just feels incredibly safe and easy. Since you now often just use the shield as a shield and not for only Bird Bomb, Odin becomes incredibly safe and hard to kill, almost like Jing Wei and Hades from prior spots on this list, but a little different. He also has the factor that his ultimate can win fights on its own even if the Odin player is feeding his brains out, because all he has to do is press 4 on the backline carries and it will have made an impact on that fight. That combined with his infinite shields and jumps, he just seems like a way too safe and easy pick to me. Breaking the top 5, we have Chak, a similar situation to Odin in that he's a warrior that's uber tanky and is near impossible to kill. Not only does Chak have self-sustain and slows out the wazoo, but he also has the axe teleport gimmick that allows him to outrun people that he really shouldn't be able to realistically. He also has the ult that's just a massive damage reduction and a huge silence to keep him alive. Chak's laning phase is also damn near unbeatable since he just clears the wave with 1-2 and heals up. Moving into the top 4 though, this is where I get into some gods that I think are truly low skill to the point where it's bad for the game. These previous 6 picks were more so just easy gods which are fine to have in the game, but the top 4 are kind of toxically low skill in my opinion. The first of these is Skadi, a god that pretty much relies on a pet for half of her damage. This one was just never going to be fun purely based on her design in my opinion. The fact that I have very often died with just Calder on my ass while Skadi stands still doing nothing or clearing the wave is ridiculous. You don't get much lower skill than just pressing 2 on someone, then pressing 4 and getting a free kill, which is basically Skadi's game plan. Sure, her basic attacks can hit hard at full build, but there's a reason everyone builds her ability base, it's just to maximize Calder damage and make her easier to play overall. Next up at number 3 we have Artio, who is one of only a few non-auto attack gods on the list and the only one in top 4. The reason Artio is on this list is probably pretty obvious. Her insane ability spam is just ridiculous. Sure, you can use your brain a little if you want and order her abilities to get the maximum effect, or you could be like every other Artio in existence and just vomit your kit on people for free kills. She does way too much damage for how much control she has, and literally all the skill required is to have a keyboard and a face to smash into it. Not to mention her 6-second AoE cripple that is obviously very skillful. Artio for sure has to be top 3 on this list and arguably could be even higher. Taking the penultimate spot on the list, we have the King of Invades, Bakasura. This guy has the fastest farming out of any jungler, hands down, as well as some of the best 1v1 potential in the game just by holding down W and left mouse once you get your build online. The only sliver of skill needed to play Bakasura comes in invading enemy camps, but that's as simple as jumping a wall, basic attacking twice and eating the big minion, then scuttling back off to your own jungle for more farm. Then once you're an item and several levels up on everyone else, you come out holding left click and W on people and win the game. Bakasura is definitely one of the easiest gods in Smite and honestly could have been number one. But in reality, how you build in matters less than god balance does to high res. You'll stomp any game you want just by farming early and then puking on the entire enemy team with your acid reflux auto attacks and getting a free pentakill. But finally, the number one easiest god in the game in my opinion is Arachne. Yeah, those that know me probably expected this one given I'm a loud and proud Arachne hater that's constantly calling for her to be reworked because she's a toxic design. I have an entire rant on Arachne if you want more details, but I'll summarise here. Your entire game plan is just steroids and left click W, then press 4 to escape if you're gonna die. You rely entirely on snowballing and people not knowing how to counter you and have 2 basic attack steroids in one kit for some reason. Yeah, this basically became more of a mini Arachne rant than why she's easy necessarily, but ultimately it does just come down to her incredibly brain dead game plan of just left click W and snowball, but she does take literally 0 execution on all of her abilities too though, that's for sure. Press 3, they can't move. Press 2, they can't do anything. Press 1, they're dead. Literally the only skill involved in playing this god is the endurance required to hold your finger on left click for an entire 25-minute conquest match. But that's enough ranting for one day. As I mentioned with Arachne, I have rants for many of these characters on the channel, so be sure to check those out if you want an entire video dedicated to why I hate certain gods. Let me know what you thought of my summary here though, and if you'd remove or add any characters to the list. But other than that, I'll catch you guys in another one later on. Have a great day, and peace out, you nerds.